Everyone is doing well. Today's target is to solve question number 6. Again, we are not concerned about the authors, we are not concerned about the edition, we are concerned with our practice. So it is being tried that you can be in practice sessions for so many questions. As many as questions which will produce capability to solve cash book in in a capacity where you can have the solution in the exact manner. I would like to share with you that questions we are taking is not from one book, it's not from one author. There are variety of authors and book present, and what we have done, we have picked practice questions for from different authors. Sometimes we were taking foreign authors, sometimes we were taking the local authors from Asia or from America, just to make sure that our students should have knowledge for one topic with complete and comprehensive capability. Here we have question number 6. No matter what author or what edition it is, we are actually on target to produce cash book. And as you know that in cash book we do have several transactions which are provided by the book, or in practical, if you are working as an accountant, you will be provided these sort of transactions by your organization. You can see that it's just layman language, a simple English, where what your organization have done, that means what organization is receiving or what organization is paying, they have written in simple English language and provided you this information. You as an accountant is responsible to receive this information and convert into usable information. Right now it's raw data. You cannot conclude anything from this English paragraph. So what you will do, you will pick this raw data and will convert into usable information. Please be attentive. What is basic purpose of cash book? There are two main elements which are involved in it, that is cash and bank. If you want to manage your cash well, if you want to manage your disbursement of cash, if you want to manage your cash which is received, this is the best way to learn how to manage your cash. Here there are two aspects of cash. You will receive cash and you will pay cash. So you will manage how much cash you have received on one side, and you will manage how much cash you have paid on other side. In the similar manner, how much cash is being deposited into the bank, this is one side, and how much cash is withdrawn from the bank, this is second aspect. So ultimately the target of cash book is to see how much cash is still in your hand and how much amount is present in your bank account. So these are transactions. You will convert these transactions into usable information, and there are two steps. First, you will convert this simple raw data into journal, journal journal. I would like to show you the procedure. Here you have what you are looking at is there are two parts divided in a way that first part would deal with journal entries. Now you can see we have journal over here, and there is second part, that is cash book. Step number 1, we will take these transactions which are given by the organization or given in the question. You will take these transactions and will convert these transactions into journal. This is your first part. And second part is what? You will take this journal and convert into cash book. Cash book is basically combination of several ledgers like discount, cash, and bank, but at the same time it is specific for discount, cash, and bank. These are three different ledgers. Several ledgers I was saying, those are three ledgers: discount, cash, and bank. So what you are doing, you are combining three different ledgers in single book. You can see that on debit side we have discount, cash, and bank, and we have credit side where you have discount, cash, and bank. So what you will do, if entries present in journal includes cash, bank, and discount, you will pick only those entries. If in any entry these three elements are not present, you will not pick that entry and you can skip, you can leave that entry. We are not going to post those entries in any ledgers. So as we are deciding it, we are concerned with only three elements: cash, discount and bank. If cash is present over here, you will pick that entry and you will see cash, bank or discount. If it is debit, you will choose same side in cash book and you will put in discount, cash or bank. And vice versa, if entries are present in journal on credit side, you will go to the credit side of cash book and will post if it is discount, cash or bank. So hopefully you have understood that rule is very simple. If in journal cash is debit, you will post on debit side. So debit do debit, credit do credit. Now let's see what these transactions are about. These transaction given in the question is related to single month, and that is October. From 1st to 31, all transactions are associated with month of October. All right. So step by step we will proceed. We are now related with entry number 1, which is October 1. So we will post date first. Here you can write 1. Since all entries are related to single month, so you may write October over here or you may write October at the start. So it is 1st of October, and entry which is given in 1st October is saying we have cash in hand. Cash in hand means you have cash, neither you are paying cash nor you are receiving cash. Cash is not going out, cash is not coming in, just cash in hand. So it means your cash in hand is a favorable aspect of organization. That cash in hand is your asset. Asset should always be written on debit side, so you will mention cash on debit side as it is favorable for you. As earlier it has been mentioned, you are not paying this cash to anyone and you are not receiving this cash from anyone. You are not paying it, you are not receiving it, it's just the balance. So you will mention the name of balance on other side just as the reference. Now let's see how much cash in hand. It is 200. So you are going to post 200 on debit side, and same 200 you are needed to post on your credit side. In this way, one entry which, okay, there are two different transactions in first dates, so you can mention date over here by yourself. It is not given in the book, just to distinguish two parts. So you will do 1A, and now the second part of first date you may write 1B, just to make it distinguished from first day. Half part of first we have done cash in hand, and second half part is saying bank balance overdrawn. Yeah, balance overdrawn by bank, balance overdrawn at bank, still it is balance. Overdrawn is what? For that purpose you will be more attentive, and for that purpose I think we have already tried to understand in some previous question. It is better everything is written. Now see, amount present in your bank account was 1000 rupees, I'm just supposing it, but suddenly you are in need to issue or you are in need to pay someone more than the amount present in your bank account, that is 1200. Again try to understand how much amount is present in your bank account, 1000, but you are in need to issue a check of rupees 1200 which is more than the amount present in your bank account. So what will happen when you will issue this check to your creditor? That account payable person or creditor will go to your bank, will present that check and will try to withdraw amount from your bank. But what would happen when you have issued a check which is having an amount more than the amount present in your bank account? That check would be bounced and will be returned and will be dishonored. But at the same time, if customer is having good relationship with the banker, that means you as a customer is having good relationship with your banker, you can put a request to your banker and saying that to give a favor of providing amount to the creditor 1200, while in reality it is not possible because amount present in your bank account is less than the amount you have written on check. But if you have good relationship with the banker can uh, encash this check for piece 1200, where 200 is an additional amount. How a banker can do this? When you are requesting and you are promising at the same time that you will return 200 rupees additional within a shorter period of time. So it may be considered that 200 is drawn from your bank account, which is over and above of balance present in your bank account, and you are promising to return this amount within shorter period of time. So it can be uh, termed as short term loan. So you have taken a short term loan of 200 rupees, within 2 days you will return. But right now, at this stage, you have drawn over and above the amount which was present in your bank account. That is why it is called overdrawn balance. How much you have overdrawn? 200. Overdrawn is short term loan. It means it is just to be considered as your liability should be written on credit side. So you will mention your name of bank account on credit side. And what is the reason? It is just the short term loan and liabilities. Right now it's just the balance. You have already drawn the amount over and above to your bank balance. It is just the balance. Right now amount is not going out, amount is not being deposited, just an overdraft balance. So you will mention name of balance on opposite side for the reference. It is 1B. Let's see how much overdrawn balance. It is 400. So you are going to write 400 on debit side, and same amount you are supposed to write on your credit side. In this way, first entry is completed. There were two aspects of first entry and we have generalized both. What time I have used? Generalize. What we are doing, these are transaction and we are generalizing these transactions. So we are up to second entry. It has also two parts. So we are going to write 2A for the first part of the entry, and for second part we will be writing 2B. So 2A is saying we have sold goods for cash. This is our entry. I have asked the question in the class, what is meant by cash sale? Somebody had said we have sold cash. No, it's not what we are selling cash. It is actually you have sold your goods and received cash. When you are selling your goods, it means your goods are going out, goods are your near assets are decreasing. So you were supposed to write goods on credit side. But as you know, we do not write goods in accounting, we write working in place of goods. What working we are doing? We are selling goods, so you will mention sales over here. Goods were written just for the reference, it's a referral. Now it's unnecessary to be written over here. You can erase goods, it was just for an understanding. You have sold goods and received cash. When you will receive cash, it means your cash in hand would be increasing. Increase in cash in hand means increase in asset. Increase in asset should be debited. So you are needed to mention cash on debit side. As an asset, it is increasing. How much amount of cash sales is? You can see over there, second entry, it is 500 cash sales. All right, there is second part of this entry. One second. And same amount you are needed to put on credit side as well. This is simple accounting principle. Whatever you will write on debit side, same amount should be written on the credit side as well. 2A is completed. Now what is second part of 2? It is saying banked cash 200. In other meaning, you can say you have deposited cash into your bank. When you will deposit cash into your bank, it means amount present in your bank account would be increased. Increase in bank account mean increase in asset. Increase in asset should be debited. So you will debit name of bank account on debit side. How bank account amount in bank account has been increased? You have received the cash and same cash you are depositing into your bank. It means cash is going out. When cash is going out means your cash in hand is decreasing, asset is decreasing. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side, so you will mention cash on credit side. It was 2, but B entry. So here you have mentioned the date, B entry. And now how much cash has been deposited into the bank. In 2B you can see it's 200. So 200 would be written over here. What third meaning we are getting? Cash you have received was 500. You haven't deposited all the cash into the bank. Some part of this cash has been deposited. That means 200. So 200 is mentioned on debit side, and same you are supposed to write on credit side. So what we have is 2B. Now let's see what is next for us. After 2 we are having entry number 3, and it is saying paid Habib by check. Habib is name. Paid Habib by check. When you are paying something through check, so what will happen? You are issuing this check to the person to whom amount was payable. That means he was your account payable. When you will issue this check to your account payable, he will go to your bank branch and will present that check, and he will withdraw amount from your bank, with which amount present in your bank account would be decreased. Bank account is your asset is decreased, so you are needed to mention bank name or bank account name on credit side. Why? Because your amount in bank has been decreased, asset is decreased. To whom you have issued this check? It has been written paid Habib and company. The person, the artificial person to whom you have issued check, he was your account payable. What word I am using? Was. He was your account payable, but as you have paid, it means your he is no more your account payable, means your liability has been decreased. It means he is no more your liability. When liability has been decreased, it should be mentioned on debit side. So Habib company we are mentioning on debit side, though they were your account payable. What word I have used? Were. They were your account payable, but after payment now they are no more your account payable. Liability decrease in liability should be mentioned on debit side. That is why you are naming Habib on debit side. Date is 3, so you will mention date over here 3. All right, now see, third entry's amount is 150. So you are going to post 150 over here on debit side, and same amount you are needed to put on credit side. This way entry number 3 is completed. Now let's see what is next for us. That is entry number 5. So you will mention 5th date, 5th of the month in date column. 5th entry is saying received Abdur Rahim's check. You have received a check and paid into the bank. What you are doing? You are receiving check and paying that check on the same date. This is important to understand when you are receiving check. But not only you have received, you have deposited the same check into the bank in same date. So now what you will do? Ultimate conclusion is what? You receive check, but you have deposited into the bank. It means amount present in your bank account will eventually be increased. Increase in bank account mean increase in asset, which should be debited. So you are needed to mention name of bank on debit side. All right. So since you have received a check and there is nothing else, and from whom you are receiving this check, that is Abdur Rahim. Abdur Rahim is a person from whom amount was receivable. Now you have received that amount. It means he is no more your account receivable, no more your asset. Asset is decreased. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So Abdur Rahim, who was, I'm using was, who was your account receivable. Now you are writing on credit side. Though you can say account receivable are asset and assets place is debit. Why we are writing on credit side? As we have received the amount. So Rahim is no more our account receivable, no more our asset. Asset is decreased. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. That is why you are writing name of your account receivable on credit side. How much of 5th entry amount is? And that is 850. So you will be writing 850 on debit side, and same amount would be posted on credit side. This way entry number 5 is completed. Now let's see what is next entry for us. It is 6. So you will mention 6th date in date column. What sixth entry is saying? Paid salaries in cash. What it is written? Paid salaries in cash. You have paid salaries in terms of cash. If you are paying, that means your cash is going out, means cash in hand is decreasing. Cash in hand is your asset is decreasing. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side, so you will mention cash on credit side. You are paying this cash for what purpose? You are paying salaries. Salaries are your expenses, and debit side is fixed for expense side. For expenses, expenses should always be mentioned on debit side, so you will write salaries on debit side. And I think salary, okay, just salaries. Let's see how much salaries of sixth is. This is 250. So you are going to write 250 on debit side, and same amount you are supposed to write on credit side. This way you have completed your entry number 6. But I am looking, there is another part mentioned in the same entry, and that is bought goods for cash, same date. So what you will do, you will mention 6A in previous entry, and now mention the date as 6B over here, and we have bought goods for cash. Now please concentrate. Bought goods for cash means you are buying your goods. Goods are coming in. Goods are your near asset. Asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side. So you were supposed to write goods over here. But as you know, we do not write goods in accounting. We write working in place of goods. What working we are doing? We are buying goods. So you may write purchase in place of good. Goods, what we have written over here was just a reference to understand that what is coming in. So now it is unnecessary to be unnecessary for the goods to be written over here. You can erase it. So you have bought goods, that is why you have written purchase over here. Buying good mean you are paying cash. Cash is going out. Cash is going out means your cash in hand is decreasing, which is your asset is decreasing. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. That is why you will mention cash on credit side, because your cash is decreasing as an asset. When asset is decreasing, decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side, so you have mentioned cash on credit side. How much amount? 6B is 140, so you are going to write 140 on debit side, and same amount would be written on credit side. So here our entry number 6B is completed. Now come over here, 6B. We have completed sixth entry. Next is 8. So here just write down entry number 8, and what entry number 8 is saying? Drew from bank for office use. Here is our entry. Drew from bank for office use. You have drawn some amount from bank for office. When you are going to draw some amount from your bank account, amount present in bank account would be decreased. Decrease in bank account mean decrease in your asset decrease should be mentioned on credit side. So you will name your bank on credit side, because your asset is decreasing, amount present in bank is decreasing, which should be mentioned on debit side. When you will draw amount, what you will receive? Cash, and that cash is drawn for office use. Still office use is not mentioned. So what had happened? You have drawn amount from bank. What you will receive? Cash, means your cash in hand would be increased. Cash in hand is your asset, means asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side, so you will mention cash on debit side. How much amount for 8th entry is? That is 160. So you will mention 160 on debit side, and same amount you are needed to write on credit side. This way your 8th entry is completed. Now come to the next entry, that is 11. So put date 11 in next entry over here. All right, now 11th entry is saying again cash sales. Half part is saying you have sold goods for cash, and since there is something else also written in this entry, we will change our date 11A, we would call it. And 11th entry is saying you have sold goods for cash. We have already done this entry. When you are selling goods, it means your goods are going out. Goods are your near asset, mean asset is decreasing. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you were supposed to write goods over here as you are selling goods. But you know, in accounting, we do not write goods, we write working in place of goods. What working we are doing? We are selling, so you will mention sales over here. Goods were written just for the reference, and it is unnecessary to be written over here. You may erase it. So you have sold goods. What you will receive after selling goods? As it has been mentioned, you are selling goods for cash. So you will receive cash. Cash, when you will receive, it means your cash in hand is increasing, which is your asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side, so you will mention cash on debit side. How much amount for cash sale? It is, as you can see, 21. So you will write 21 on debit side, and same amount you are supposed to write on credit side. This way 11A is completed, cash sales, but there is half part also present in this entry in same date, paid wages in cash. What you are doing now, you are again paying for what? For wages. When you will be paying something, it means your cash in hand is decreasing. Decrease in cash in hand means decrease in asset. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you are writing cash on credit side as your cash is decreasing. Decreasing for what? You are paying wages. Wages are your expense, and expenses are required to be mentioned on debit side. So you will name wages on debit side. This is your 11B entry. Now how much amount paid in terms of wages? Amount is 120. So you are supposed to write 120 on debit side, and same amount you will be posting on credit side. This way 11B is completed. Now let's see what is next for us, and that is 13th entry. What 13 entry is saying? First we will mention the date 13, and now let's see. Received by check from Aftab Ahmed 360 and discount of rupees 10, and paid this check into the bank. So there are three aspects. First step is you have received this check, okay, and you have received a discount as well. Sorry, there is a discount, and then you have paid this check into the bank. First you have received this check, and then you have paid this check into the bank. You can make two entries or you can make single entry. When you are receiving that check and immediately you are paying this check into the bank, then at the end of this transaction, what had happened? The check has been deposited into the bank. If you will deposit check or cash into the bank, eventually amount present in bank account would be increased. Bank account is your asset, mean asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side, so you will mention bank on debit side, because as an asset is has been increased, which should be mentioned on debit side. So you have mentioned bank on debit side. From whom you have received this check? Entry number, it was 13. In 13th entry you have received this check from Aftab. Aftab is a name of person from whom amount was receivable, and you have now received that amount. That means Aftab is no more your account receivable, no more your asset. Asset is decreased. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So name of Aftab we are mentioning on credit side, though he was your account receivable. What word I am using? Was. Account receivable are asset. Asset should be mentioned on debit side, but as we have received amount, he is no more account receivable, no more asset, decrease in asset. That is why we are crediting his name. But there is third aspect mentioned in this entry, and that is beside 360 it has been written there is a discount. Now who will decide that there would be a discount? Since we are receiving the amount, we have the authority to allow our debtor to pay less or more. Since we are permitting, we are allowing to pay less, that means the discount at this stage is discount allowed, because we have permitted our debtor to pay less. In this way, our entry has been completed. Now we will see the matter of amount. In 13th entry, first you see check is mentioned and amount of check is 360, which has been deposited into the bank. It means increase in bank account would be for 360 rupees. The second thing which has been mentioned is rupees 10. And what is this 10? That is your discount. So what you will do, you will write 10 rupees in front of discount. And after this, when you will see your entry number 13, entry has been ended, but amount of aftab is not mentioned. So what we will do, we will apply simple accounting principle. As you know that debit side is always equal to credit side. In debit side there are two amounts. To equalize, what you will do, you will add 360 and 10 and would write on credit side to equalizing for the purpose to equalize both sides, debit and credit side. Though amount of aftab was not mentioned, so indirectly we have calculated the amount of aftab. This way 13th entry is completed. Let's see what is next for us, and that is entry number 16. So you will go and mention the date 16 over here. Now what 16 is saying, sent a check to Jones for rupees 175 and discount. What entry is saying, sent a check to Jones. It means you have issued a check to Jones. Whenever you will issue a check, the person to whom you have issued check is your account payable, and he will go to the bank and will present that check to your bank branch and will withdraw amount from your bank account, with which amount present in your bank account would be decreased. It means your asset is decreasing, which should be mentioned on credit side. So you will name your bank account on credit side because amount has been decreased. To whom you have issued this check, this is entry number 16. You have issued this check to John. John is just a person to whom amount was payable, and now you have paid that amount. He is no more your account payable, no more your liability after payment. Liability decrease in liability should be mentioned on debit side. So here you are needed to mention name of John on debit side. Now let's see what was the amount of check. That is mentioned 175, and this is amount of check. So what you will do, you will write this 175 in front of bank, because the amount written on check would be the amount which is going to draw from bank. This means 175 is the amount with which your bank account would be decreased. Now let's see what is next. That is discount. Discount is 5 rupees. So you will mention discount. Now here you have to decide whether it is discount received or allowed. You are paying this amount. You have no authority to decide whether to pay less or not. Actually, the person to whom amount was payable, he was John. John will decide that you can pay less. It means he will permit, and we are going to pay less. When we are going to pay less, it means we are getting some favor. It is our income. That means we are receiving discount. Our creditor John had permitted us to pay less. That means we are paying less, we are receiving some discount. So you have mentioned over here the discount. Discount amount is given in the book, that is 5, but entry is completed. Amount of John is not mentioned in the book in the transaction. How would you calculate the amount of John? Again, you will apply a very simple accounting principle. Debit and credit side are always equal to, and at credit side you do have two amounts. To equalizing it, what you will do, you will add 175 and second amount is 5. You will add both amounts, in which now what had happened, debit and credit side is equalized. Though amount of John was not given in the question, we have indirectly calculated. Entry number 16 is completed. Let's see what is next for us. After 16, it is 19. So date should be mentioned before starting of any transaction. 19, Received cash from Abdul Rahim, received cash from Abdul Rahim, discount allowed. First part of the entry is saying receive cash from Abdul Rahim. Abdul Rahim is a person. When you will receive cash, it means your cash in hand is increasing. Increase in cash in hand mean increase in asset. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side. So you will mention name of cash on debit side. From whom you are receiving this amount? That is Abdul Rahim. Abdul Rahim was the person from whom amount was receivable. He was your account receivable. He was asset. But now you have received the amount. It means he is no more your account receivable, no more your asset. Asset has been decreased. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So Abdul Rahim's name we are mentioning on credit side. In spite of this, that he was. What word I am using? Was. He was your account receivable. After receiving amount from him, he is no more account receivable, no more asset, decrease in asset. That is why we have named Rahim on credit side. Now let's focus on the amount. Entry number 19. You have received cash 275. So what you will do, you will write 275 in front of cash. This is the amount you have received from your account receivable. Second aspect of this transaction is there is a discount, and discount is 6 rupees. Now see, discount allowed is already mentioned. When discount allowed is mentioned, it means you are permitting, that is your expense. So you will write discount on debit side, as discount allowed is an expense for you. So it would be mentioned on debit side. How much discount? That is 5 rupees. So you will be mentioning 5 rupees over here. Entry is completed. Abdul Rahim's entry was this, and discount allowed was this, and discount allowed was, oh, actually it is 6. So nothing else is given. First you will rectify amount, that is 6. So it means amount of Rahim is not mentioned over here. Again you will apply simple accounting principle. Debit and credit side are always equal. So what you will do, how much amount is present on debit side, to equalize what you will do, you will add all the amounts present on debit side. 275 plus 6, these two amounts were present on debit side. You have added up and written on Rahim. Though amount for Rahim was not mentioned in the book, indirectly you have calculated by summing up all the amounts present on debit side. This way both sides are equalized, means entry is completed. When 19th entry is completed, what is next for us? That is 21. Write down 21st date for the next entry. What 21 is saying? Purchase furniture for cash. Okay, that's all. Purchase furniture for cash. When you are buying furniture, it means what is coming in? Furniture. Furniture is your asset. Asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side. So you are mentioning furniture on debit side. If you are buying furniture, what will be going out? Means you are paying what? Cash is going out. That means your cash in hand is decreasing. Cash in hand is your asset. Asset is decreasing. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you are mentioning name of cash on credit side. 21st entry it was, and how much amount? That is 160. So we have bought a furniture of worth rupees 160. So you are going to mention amount on debit side, and same amount you will be putting on credit side. This way 21st entry is completed. Now let's see what next entry, October 23 it is. Put date first, 23, and now see what 23 is saying. Drew cash from bank and paid every. There are two parts of 23, so it's better to write 23A in first part, and first part of 23 is saying drew cash from bank. What you have done, you have drawn cash from the bank. When you are going to draw amount from your bank account, it means amount present in your bank account would be decreased. Bank is your asset. Asset is decreasing. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you will mention your bank account name on credit side. When you will draw amount, what you will receive? Drew cash from bank. When you will draw some amount, you will receive cash, mean your cash in hand is increasing. Cash in hand is your asset. Asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side. So you will mention name of cash on debit side. How much cash is drawn? That is 250. So you are going to write 250 on debit side, and same amount you are supposed to write on credit side. This way your entry number 23A is completed. But 23 is having second part, and that is what? Paid advertisement in cash. As you are paying means your cash in hand is going out. Cash is going out mean cash in hand is decreasing. Decrease in cash in hand, decrease in asset. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side, so cash is going out. For what purpose you are paying this cash? That is advertising, and you are paying means advertising is an expense. Expenses should be mentioned on debit side, so you will write advertising. Yeah, advertise. Yeah, advertising expense. You may write over here as an expense. This was 23B. We should have mentioned date first. How much amount is paying for advertising? That is 55. So you will mention 55 on debit side, and same amount you are supposed to write on credit side. All right. So here you are going to write 55. In this way, entry number 23B is completed. 23 was having two parts. Both parts are completed. Next is 24. So you will mention 24 date over here. Let's see what 24 is saying. Receive check from a name Ejaz and paid the same into the bank. Okay, we have understood. Receive a check from Ejaz and paid into the bank. Ultimately, what had happened? You have received a check and deposited the same check into the bank. This means amount present in your bank account will eventually be increased. Increase in bank account mean increase in asset. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side, so that is why you have written your bank account on debit side as an asset is has been increased. It should be debited. So you have debited bank account. From whom you have received this check? It was entry number 24. In 24 it is saying that you have received that check from Ejaz Bashir. Ejaz was the person from whom amount was receivable. That means he was your account receivable. Account receivables are asset. As you have received the amount means he is no more your account receivable, no more your asset. Asset decrease. Decrease in assets should be mentioned on credit side. That is why you will write name of Ejaz on credit side, in spite of the fact that he was your asset account receivable. But why you are mentioning asset on credit side? Because he was the person from whom amount was receivable. He was account receivable, he was asset. But after receiving the amount, he is no more asset. Decrease in asset, credit. That is why you have mentioned name of Ejaz on credit side. Now let's see for 24. Amount was 245, and let's see if there is anything else. No discount. So 245 will be written on debit side, and same amount you are needed to post on credit side. This way entry number 24 is completed. Let's see what next entry it is. 29. So you are going to write 29 on date column. 29 is saying Ejaz Bashir's check. The check we have recently received returned what? By the bank unpaid. That means check has been dishonored. So bank had not paid that check. Kindly note it down that you have received this check and deposited into the bank. The check was received from Ejaz. When you have deposited, you were supposed to increase your bank account. So you have increased, but next day you were informed by the bank that Ejaz Bashir's check is being dishonored due to any reason. Maybe date was not mentioned, maybe signatures were not accurate, maybe amount in words and amount in numbers is not matched. Due to any reason, your amount is not being deposited into the bank book. While what we have done, we have increased our bank account. In reality, when date would arrive 29, you will come to know that your bank account has not been increased because of that check. So what you will do, you will reverse that entry and will decrease bank account. Why? Initially received check and you were supposing it that amount would eventually be increased, but actually amount has not been increased. So you will decrease amount present in bank again. Decrease in bank account mean decrease in asset. As decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side, so you have mentioned name of bank on credit side. If amount is not being received from Ijaz, where you will go? You will inform Ijaz and will say your check has been bounced or dishonored. You are still liable to pay. So Ijaz will become account receivable again. Account receivable mean again Ijaz becomes your asset. Asset is increase. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side. So you will write name of Ijaz on debit side, because from Ijaz amount is still receivable. Same amount you will be going to receive from Ijaz. Again Ijaz is becoming your account receivable or asset again. So that is why you are mentioning Ijaz name on debit side, because he is still your asset, still your account receivable, which should be mentioned on debit side. 29th entry we have completed. Now next entry is 31 and there are two 31st entries. So what you are going to do, 31A part you may write over here, and we can write 31B at the same time, because 31 is having two parts. 31A saying paid office cash into the bank. You can understand that it's simple English. Paid cash into the bank. What had happened? You have deposited cash in your bank account, means amount present in your bank account would be increased. Bank account is your asset, mean asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side, so you will mention your bank account on debit side. How amount in bank has been increased? Because you have paid cash in to the bank. So cash is going out, cash in hand is decreasing, which is your asset. Asset is decreasing, decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you will mention name of cash on credit side. How much amount is deposited into the bank? That is, one second, 31st entry was having two parts. First part was paid salaries. Okay, what we will do, this is 31st B part. We will pick this entry and we'll write over here, and 31st A was different, but we will complete 31st B right now. 31st B's amount is 100 rupees. So you are going to write 100 rupees on debit side, and same amount you are supposed to write on credit side. Here 31st B is completed. Now come to 31A. 31 entry was having two parts. 31B we had completed first, maybe by mistake, and now 31A. What 31A is saying? Paid salaries in cash. Since it's a payment, you are paying cash. Cash in hand is decreasing. Decrease in cash in hand means you are decreasing your asset. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side, so you are supposed to write cash on credit side. As an asset it is decreasing, that is why you are mentioning it on credit side. For what purpose you are paying cash? That is salaries. Here you can see that you are paying salaries. Salaries are your expense, because you are paying expenses should be mentioned on debit side. So you are going to write salaries on debit side. How much amount of salaries has been paid? That is 160. So write down 160 on debit side, and same amount you are needed to post on credit side. This way you were having 31 entries, and all entries from 1st to 31, thankfully these entries are completed. You can see what we are having. We have started from here, and step by step from first entry to 31st entry we have completed in this session. Half part of this question has been completed. Next step we will take all of these journal entries and we'll post these journal entries into cash book. Rule, you already have an idea how journal entries are posted into the cash book, and we will understand it again. Half part is completed, consider it as part A. We will meet again after a short break. Please take break and come back as we have completed half part. Half part will be completed in part B. Thank you very much for your time, and I am waiting for you for the B part.